first night of the expo. I guess it's Cincinnati Comic Expo North is where we're a little up north this time. But we have a great guest for you tonight. You know him from such things as La Bamba, Longmire. You know, one of my favorites is Bats. I don't know if anybody's seen, but I didn't really get the crowd. Oh, come in. But I want you to give a big round of applause for Lou Diamond Phillips, everybody.
Really? No Bats fans?
No Bats fans, I guess.
Wow. I got it. Thank you. One of my favorite lines of all time, apologies to the kids, one of my favorite lines of all time from any film is, I am not up to my chest in bat shit. Yeah.
It's a classic. It's a classic
You know,
line.
Shakespeare and then Bats, and they're right there together.
Right, neck and neck. That's kind of that's probably how you got a lot of your theater roles, right? You're like, have you
Indeed.
seen Bats?
Exactly.
So how you doing? How's everything Cincinnati treating you so far? First day.
Fantastic. I just got here, literally flew in from New York this morning, so thrilled to be here. Same time zone, so thank God, not wiped out. You know,
That's a good thing.
No, man, I've been doing so much traveling lately, and just thrilled. A lot of people have asked me, and I will share this story. I was here 17 years ago, speaking of Shakespeare, but not quite Shakespeare, and I was doing the national tour of Camelot, of course playing King Arthur, King of England. And it was a lovely, lovely week that I spent here, but it was very, very cold, I must say.
You can't get cold here, that's for sure. Now, you do a lot of theater, not just 17 years ago, but you enjoy theatrical work.
I do, yeah. I did The King and I on Broadway, which was a real favorite and a real career. Thank you, the one person. Tony nomination.
Bats in theater, it's really killing them.
Exactly, which is how I can get away with doing something like Bats, because I'm theater trained. But I'll tell a funny story about Bats here in a second. But The King and I that I did also in Kansas City, Fort Worth, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, and Melbourne, Australia. So I've done The King and I over 600 times, and I think the only person who's done it more than me is Yule, So he was up in the 2000s. But loved that. Last summer I did went right out of my head, Miss Saigon in Fort Worth as well, back at Casa Manana. So loved that. Scary 10 days rehearsal, 10 days performance. One of the toughest roles I think I've ever done, which kind of scared the crap out of me, but I enjoyed it. And we talk about theater, so there's one scene in Bats. We're in Magna, Utah, right? And I've often said this about sci-fi and about horror. They really, really require you to act. If you're in a nice drama or a comedy with somebody and you're just acting with somebody else, it's a give and take, it's a dance, you're being normal. When you're doing horror or sci-fi, you got the green screen, you got the effects, you're having to act with a bunch of stuff that isn't there. And that's like real acting, you know what I mean? Pretend. And it's also massive trust, because you have to do something and pray that the special effects people don't make you look like an idiot. And so we're in Magna, Utah. They've had their Miss Magna pageant that very day. I met Miss Magna, waved in the parade, and it's like 2 a.m, and all 500 people in Magna, Utah have not left. And so they're all there on Main Street, and the director, comes up and he says, "Okay, I'm going to give you a full, full clip. You have 13, shots. Shoot anywhere you want. They're all blanks. I will make sure you hit a bat. You will not miss." and then at some point, a battle, like, you get in your hair and you'll knock your cowboy hat off and you'll roll underneath the pickup truck and you'll keep shooting and I'll keep killing bats and, And so 500 people and there I am, and action. And they're rolling under the thing. And finished it. Came out, and there's nothing there. There's only one real bat in the whole damn movie. And I come out, and I get a standing ovation from the 500 people, and I thought it was like Martin Landau playing Bela Lugosi in the movie and wrestling the big rubber octopus. And I thought, I'm a grown man, and this is what I do for a living.
But you're having fun doing it, right?
I'm having a blast doing it. They pay me for this.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Now, for anybody who has questions for Lou, if you want to line up at either of the mics, we'll get to you in just a minute. Nobody's jumping to bats.
It was like the King and I.
Yeah. Or hey, my favorite bats. Yeah. But I did find you enjoy beer. Yes, you enjoy a nice beer.
Word.
I was watching some other panels previously.
Word has gotten around.
It has.
Yeah.
Well,
I like beer.
For you, as you know, the Cincinnati Comic Expo, we have a brewery across the street, and they
I've
have
heard
a special
this.
edition.
I've heard this.
So just for you, I have a 6-pack of our special beer that you can take with you.
Wow.
So
will this take me where no man has gone before?
It will take you where no man has gone before. You may not be here tomorrow. I don't know.
I don't have the power, Captain. The delicious crystals. My juice is fading. Oh, that's fantastic. I might have to crack one of those soon.
The people across the street at Third Eye were generous to.
Wow. They don't have a La Bamba one? No.
They did not have a La Bamba one, no.
Here, drink this. You'll get La Bamba'd.
So why don't we jump to some questions here? What question you have for Lou?
Young Guns and Young Guns 2 are two of my favorite films.
Thank you.
I got really into Billy the Kid because of that. Is there anything that you remember specifically that you had a lot of fun with? Because that's a crazy cast that you guys had together there.
It's funny. Here, have some beer. Is there anything you remember about I'm seeing a trend here in Cincinnati. The most fun I've ever had on a film, the only thing that could even come close would be like The Big Hit, which I had a blast with. But, I mean, come on, Young Guns 1 and 2, hanging out with all of those guys. I've often said this. Thank God TMZ and camera phones did not exist at that time. I don't think the statute of limitations has run out in New Mexico, so there's certain things that I can't talk about. But yeah, no, are you kidding? We had an amazing time, really a nutty time, and one of the first stories that come to mind that I love telling because it's very visual. There's the one shootout in the first film, and you couldn't get away with this today. They wouldn't let you do this today, and they're like a bunch of stuntmen. So once again, this was a thing with the directors. We're going to give you lots of loads, and you're just going to shoot them all off.
Shoot wherever.
No. Once again, Chris Kane comes out, and there's 6 of us, and it's like he goes, "Okay, guys, we're loading up every gun you've got. Empty all your guns. Don't worry. Wherever you point, well, the stuntman will fall down eventually." They got like 8 cameras on this, okay? And when you finish shooting, then just ride out, all right? And so it's all of us shooting and all the stuntmen shooting back at us. It was bedlam. It was how one of us didn't get hurt is amazing to me, although I got screwed up on Young Guns too. But that's another story. So at any rate, let me preface this by saying Charlie Sheen hated the horses. He could not ride. He didn't want to take the time to train to ride. He had them put a little loop by the saddle horn so it could just hold on to it like this and pretend that he was doing just fine. But meanwhile, anytime he was on a horse, he was deathly afraid. So all of these guns are going off, and as you can imagine, and when you see the scene, the horses, everything's everywhere, right? And then Kiefer and I finished first, and we're riding. We're like, yeah, that was pretty good, man. I think it went well, don't you? Between us, this horse, at a gallop, almost at the speed of light, comes riding past, and Charlie is on the horse's back, kind of. I kid you not when I say that his boots were up around the horse's ears, He was laid fully back going, whoa, fuck, whoa! A couple of stunt guys riding after him finally got the horse under control, but it was, it was quite the sight to see. No TMZ, thank God.
Thank you.
No behind-the-scenes videos for that.
No.
Just imagine.
No, fortunately not. There might have been some Polaroids and some things like that of some interesting situations that have not come to light just yet. I haven't received any extortion notes in the mail yet.
That's
but,
good. That's good.
You never know.
What's one project you wish got a little bit more recognition than it does?
Man, there's a bunch. Honestly, there's a bunch. And it's a great question in the respect that people go, why wasn't this film a bigger hit? Or, and you have this expectation that everything you do is, the public's going to get to see it and it's going to make a lot of money and all of that. And it was kind of heartbreaking for me, but I finally wrapped my head around the fact that the actor can only do what he does. He can only do the best job that he can do. He's not directing it. He's not editing it. And then even after that, you can make a really wonderful film that you're really proud of. And if the studio doesn't get behind it, and if they don't push it, and if they don't, the marketing department could totally screw up and not market the film well. And you won't find your audience. So there are a few. Some people brought up The Big Hit, and I bring that up again. We opened up at #1 in the country, made the money back in the first weekend. Sony had no idea what they had on their hands and had no more money for publicity and marketing after the first week. So not another commercial. After we opened up at #1, got requests from the UK, got requests from Australia to bring over the cast and do press. They didn't have a budget. So the film would have done so much better had they actually supported it. Another film that I did recently that I'm very, very proud of, that I loved, called The 33, about the Chilean miners. It's a beautiful film. It's a gorgeous. Thank you for those of you who saw it. Yeah, right. I mean, Antonio Banderas is it. For that alone, you have Antonio Banderas. He is shirtless in a mine, and very, very sweaty. It's worth the price of admission. Julia Binoche. I mean, the most amazing international cast, Gabriel Byrne, that I've ever been a part of, and I love the film. But the studio really didn't. They did the bare minimum. We were up against the James Bond at that time, which obviously it just kicked our butts. But they didn't really find the way to market it in a different way. So that film was very, very underseen. So I mean, there have been a few. I could list another half a dozen, but you do the best you can with them, and hope that down the line, something like The Big Hit or The First Power, tends to become a cult hit, and people continue to find it. And then obviously the television series that I wish had gone further, like Wolf Lake or Prodigal Son.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, is there a particular genre that you just enjoy? Like, if you get a script, you're like, "Ooh, this could be fun."
Yes, I've said this many, many times before. My favorite genre of all is the genre of employment.
Okay, that's a good genre. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably the
so,
best one.
They're paying me for. Okay, this is a good one. No, I mean, honestly, first of all, once again, back to the theater background, that means I love doing so many different kinds of things. I enjoy it. There are different challenges in it. And even, I mean, I look at things like, directing these days. I'm doing a lot more directing. I'm writing. I have my book, the first book that I wrote, which is a sci fantasy, which is, people go, "Oh, it's your favorite genre?" It's like, no, I just ended up writing this story. That's how it turned out. And the sequel to The Tinderbox Soldier of Indira is coming out October 19th, The Tinderbox Underground Movement. Both of them were my wife's idea, and she illustrated both books. They're fantastic. I wrote the sequel because the first book did so well. But I go back and I look at what I wanted to be in high school and in college as a theater major, and I realized that, I'm a storyteller, I'm a communicator, and whatever that entails, whether I'm directing it or I wrote it or I'm acting in it, if I'm the lead or if I'm supporting, if I'm a good guy, if I'm a bad guy, all of it is in service to being a communicator and telling stories that I hope are inspirational or aspirational, or at the very least entertaining, to people. And this has been my mission my whole life, and I've been very, very happy to do that. There is, though, one genre that, especially in television, because it's guest star spots are so, I hate to say it, but easy. Because it's like, you come in for a week and you shoot, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
It's not like the commitment to a feature film or an independent film or whatever. But almost 90% of the time, if I get offered a comedy, I'm going to say yes before I even read the script, because I just love. It's how I started. I was part of a comedy troupe that did kind of like really raunchy Saturday Night Live skits at a punk bar in Fort Worth in the 80s. So if you weren't funny, they threw beer bottles at you. So it was a great training ground, and it kept you quick too, But we were called the 0 Hour because the punk bars was zeros, and then we ended up becoming what was called the Front Room Company at Stage West in Fort Worth, where we did our midnight shows on Fridays and Saturdays, but also did the classics. So that was a great training ground. But something like Psych, a few people have brought up at the table, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, those come my way, and it's literally like, yes, what am I doing? So I love doing comedy and just having fun with it. What's funny is that people don't think of me, as a comedic actor. They think, okay, he's the brooding ethnic. I'm either going to cry or he's going to stab me, one of the two. But I get to bring the funny. I'm Emmy nominated for comedy, for goodness sakes, So yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
So, moving away from, I guess, comedy and going into completely different genres.
Fabulous.
Stand and Deliver.
Although I am kind of funny in that.
It is a little bit funny in that.
His body's decomposing in my locker. Yeah.
But I absolutely love that movie. But,
Thank you.
Other than negative times a negative is a positive, what other lessons, I guess, did you gain from set, stuff like that?
Wow, I mean, first, it's so funny because I did two true stories back to back. La Bamba, where I got to hang out with, Richie's family, and as a matter of fact, I literally just saw his sister Irma and little brother Mario about a month and a half ago. We did a brand new 4K screening of La Bamba at the Academy Museum in Los Angeles, and they got to come out to it. I'm one of the governors of the Actors Branch, so I'm very proud of that. And then Stand and Deliver, where I got to hang out, with Jaime Escalante quite a lot, and just the power of a true story, just the power of telling stories, especially from marginalized communities, especially from people who are not as represented in the media as often as they should be. And because of both those films, I was introduced to Cesar Chavez of the United Farm Workers Union, and I fasted for him and I marched for him. And the biggest lesson of all, coming away from both of those, is that you can make a difference in the real world, as I said, by being a storyteller, by being a communicator, by telling a story that touches other people's lives. And both of those films are still inspirational to this day. I remember, and just like Richie's family was there every day filming La Bamba, Jaime was there after school, whenever he could to be on that set. And I was doing a scene where in the wide shot you see me doing the work, but in the close-up I'm concentrating on the acting with Eddie Olmos, who is still a very dear friend, by the way. And I'm faking, doing the math. I'm just moving my hand because I'm like, trying to, I'm acting, And Mr. Escalante comes up to me after the first take. He goes, hey, Johnny, let me show you how to do that. I said, no, Kimo, it's okay, man. I'm just acting. He goes, no, let me show you how to do it. And he shows me how to, thank you. And so in the second take, I literally, I'm making sure that I'm doing the equation the way I'm supposed to be doing it. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, you love being a storyteller, and you grew up, things that you like to give back. You grew up a military brat. You do a lot for vets. And can you speak to some of that stuff?
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, I was a military brat, and it's so funny. I literally, for those of you who follow me on Twitter, I'm not on Instagram. There's a couple of people posing as me, which is hilarious. It's like, get a life. You know, it's like, dude, I tell bad dad jokes. I got a bunch of cats. They're more exciting people. You know, I don't know, man. Go be Tom Cruise. You know, be somebody really, really exciting. You know, I don't know.
Do you ever see any of that stuff and go, like, reach out and be like, no, man, that's not me.
You know,
That's not what I do.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you know, some people go, hey, I saw what you posted on Instagram. I said, well, no, you didn't, because I didn't do it. You know, but mostly, I mean, it's interesting because what those people do is they don't come up with original content. They basically just, you know, repost what I've done before, which is like, okay, fine. You know, signal boost that. That's great. But I literally reposted because somebody said, hey, I know who you're named for. And not everybody does. They think I made this name up. You know, it's my real name. My father had read a book about Gunnery Sergeant Lou Diamond, who was a Marine in World War II in the Philippines. And so it's interesting because he spelled his L-E-W, but my grandmother on my father's side, her name was Luella, so we spelled my name L-O-U, you know. So yeah, I was named after a Gunnery Sergeant Lou Diamond, and both my biological father and my stepfather, adopted father, I should say, George Phillips, were in the Navy, and George did 2 tours in Vietnam. So I was a military brat, lived on a lot of bases, traveled around a lot, and obviously from a very, very young age have a very deep respect and gratitude for the men and women who serve this country, and have done what I can do as a private citizen to support them. I've been the spokesperson for the Veterans Administration, the spokesperson for the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars. I've worked with the USO, Wounded Warriors, and I literally just every year I donate a dinner at Tribeca Grill, which I'm a co-owner with Bobby De Niro. There in Tribeca, Manhattan. It's nice. We got some nice pasta, some good steaks. It's very good. Just a little bit. But I give away a dinner for something that I do with Jake Tapper, which is Homes for Vets, and I just did a bunch of PSAs for disabled vets to raise funds for them. So you'll probably be seeing those on your television pretty soon. But yeah, I think that it's very necessary that as a nation we show our gratitude and remember that freedom is not free, and we need to respect and to elevate those people who have given us those things that we take for granted.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello, sir. Growing up, a good friend of my father's was one of Buddy Holly's original backup band. It was one of the guys that lost this seat on the plane that night. So La Bamba was always a really special film for us. I was just wondering if you would speak a little bit more about getting the role and actually working with Richie's family.
It was so intense. I mean, I was in Dallas, Texas at the time. I was teaching film acting with a wonderful man named Adam Rourke, who's no longer with us, but he was my film acting mentor. And I had recently graduated from the University of Texas at Arlington with a degree in theater. And so they came to Dallas, and the funny thing is my agent's assistant got it completely wrong. She called and she goes, you have a audition for a musical at a theater downtown about the life of Frankie Valli. Now we have Jersey Boys, which has become a hit, but back then, no. And I thought, okay, a musical about Frankie Valli. He's about 2 feet shorter than me, but Sherry. All right, I can do it. Yeah, all right. So I go, and back in the day, they wouldn't tell you what they wouldn't give you the sides, the scenes you would do, or the script or anything like that. You show up in an audition, and you get them for the first time, and you realize what you're auditioning for. And I sat down with a bunch of guys who looked a little like me, and I realized it was a movie, a Hollywood movie, about Richie Valens. And I was like, wow, what are you doing here? You know? And the funny thing is, Junie Lowry, the casting director, was there with Phyllis Sparza, associate producer, and she explained they were doing this national talent search. A couple of weeks later, they fly me to L.A., and I was up for both roles. They fly me to L.A. for a screen test. There was more of a process going on. But I remember when I was at the screen test, there was still another guy up for the role, and they saw like 600 people for the role. They finally narrowed me down to Richie, and I was standing outside. I used to smoke. I no longer smoke. I still have a nice cigar every once in a while. But I was standing out, you know, having a cigarette outside the soundstage while the other guy was auditioning. And this red T-Bird convertible, you know, pulls up with this Chicano cat who has a black leather vest and a, you know, white tank top and his wraparound Ballerama shades. And he gets out and he looks at me and he goes, and I realized that's Bob Morales. That's the real guy, you know. And so they cast me on the Friday before we started rehearsals on the Monday. I still don't play the guitar. I had to learn 16 songs by rote, learn all of the lip-syncing songs because they'd already recorded Los Lobos doing all of those. I actually think the soundtrack ran, you know, and funded the film. So I had 16 songs to learn, plus God knows how many versions have come on. Let's go, well, oh, hey, why, hey, you know. And you know, a stack of reading material, all the articles about Richie, a few film clips, his appearance on American Bandstand, and the movie Go Johnny Go, the only thing that existed from him, and the family that was there the entire time and sort of as an asset for me. It was probably some of the most intense research I've ever done in a very, very distilled, you know, time period. It's crazy.
Thank you. I think we have a purple fox coming to ask you a question.
Excellent.
Just shoot wherever, and we'll put the animal in.
Yeah.
So I remember that you were on a show called "I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here."
Yes.
I was wondering if you could talk about like how much of that was real. Was anything kind of made up for TV that wasn't like quite how it happened? And
Oh, isn't that
oh,
funny?
and you did really well in the show, so great job.
Yeah, I won it. So you could say I did well.
If you want, that is pretty well. If you want, I mean,
yeah. No, I am the king of the jungle. King of jungle, only here to help. First of all, how it came about was very bizarre. Very bizarre. The head of reality casting was a friend, and I over dinner, and you don't want to have too many of these.
All right.
When you're you know, talking to a casting director.
Take note.
Yeah. And I met, you know, he said, would you ever do a reality show? I said, yeah, man, I'd do Survivor in a heartbeat, you know. Well, they were just getting I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here rebooted, you know. So it's like, come do this. I'm like, ugh. You know. And it's funny because the reason I would do Survivor is that I spent some of my youth in the Philippines as a Boy Scout. And we used to do, you know, GEST, jungle environmental survival training. And we used to also walk the Bataan Death March that happened during World War II. So, I mean, there was a lot of this that, you know, kind of went in my, yeah, I could do that. I could be good at that. So, yes, I ended up doing it. I said yes because I thought, you know what, at my age, why not? Let's give this a shot and see if I actually got what it takes, you know. I will tell you, it is 100% real. At least that show was. You do not go back to the hotel at night. You sleep in the jungle on those mats, the pads that we said. Twice. And they had basically these ninja guys who were like protecting us. They had to keep a panther out of the campsite, and I saw the footage later. They came in and dragged a poisonous snake out from under the bunk I was sleeping on. Yeah. You know, bug bites up and down the legs. I think I lost about 20 pounds. They really, you know, did not give you food, you know, unless you earned it. It was a ridiculous experience. But what was interesting is that everybody who came into it thinking one thing, like, okay, this is going to be a cakewalk, and they're on their best behavior for the first couple of days, but then when you start, getting tired and hungry and uncomfortable and bug bitten and everything else, your real colors tend to come out, and that was one thing that was nice. I mean, a lot of people who saw it said, okay, you really are a nice guy. It's like, yeah, I'm boring. Don't be me on Instagram. I'm just,
Thank you.
Great job.
Now, would you do more reality TV if asked?
I've been asked to do a few things. I finally did Masked Singer last year because my daughter Indigo, it was her favorite show. So, and just like they say, the Masked Singer is, it's what you get. You literally wear a big hoodie that says, "Don't talk to me." The crew doesn't know who you are. If you're not in the mask, if you're not in the getup, you're wearing this big shield on your face so that nobody knows who you are. And it was always very funny to me because all 4 judges I know personally, and they're reading the freaking clues, and I'm like, guys, seriously? They're guessing all around. This is it's really obvious, But yeah, and so when I take the mask off, the mantis, you see the reactions. They're like, whoa, That was fun.
I have a friend who couldn't attend that wanted me to say to you, he's a hardcore Stargate fan, and he loved you as Colonel Telford, and
Thank you.
wishes the plot line where there were 2 of you had been given more time. Because hopefully we got 2 paychecks out of that.
No.
Well,
It's funny. I eventually had to ask the writers, did I do something to piss you off? Did I park in your space or something? Because you've killed me 4 times. They kept killing me and bringing me back, which is great in sci-fi, but it's like, really? I think I suffocated, I was shot, I was electrocuted. I got to hang out with a bunch of aliens, which was great. They thought I was, gone in space. I loved that show. I loved doing it. David Blue is still a dear friend. I still talk to him. Robert Carlyle, amazing. Louis Ferreira, Alana, and name just went right out of my head. She's so close to me. But at any rate, it was a fantastic show to be a part of. I really do wish we had gotten a few more seasons.
absolutely.
So they could kill you a couple more times.
They were finally going to let me be a good guy.
Oh.
At least, because he started out as a jerk, and they finally go, oh, you know what? He was brainwashed. We have to kill him and then unbrainwash him. So it's interesting. You never know. I mean, they have a plan for everything, but I think once they start getting personalities in, they see how the chemistry is going, and then they start to write toward your personality or toward this, connection or whatever. And yeah, Telford was eventually going to become rather heroic. So yeah, I wish I would have gotten a 3rd season. I would have been a good guy.
As for me personally, I've been reading the Walt Longmire novels pretty much since high school. So you do not look anything like Henry Standing Bear in the novels, but you absolutely embodied the character in the 6 seasons. I very much appreciated that.
I really appreciate how you said that, because when I first read the novels, before I got the job, I saw Will Sampson from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
I mean, come on. He's supposed to be 6'4", 250.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, man. I'm 6 foot tall, okay? I'm the tallest young gun. Look very carefully. I'm on the shortest horse, and I'm always in the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
All those other bastards are a lot shorter than me. But in Longmire, Rob Taylor's like 6'3", Bailey Chase is 6'2", even Adam Bartley's like 6'1". And all of a sudden I look like Hervé Villechaize from, the plane. It's like I'm a tall guy, But yeah, when I read the Longmire novels, it's and by the way, I just finished First Frost, the later one, which is fantastic. It takes Walt and Henry back to their 20s before they go to the Vietnam War. Great story. A little different than the usual, somebody gets killed and we got to solve it. But the novels for me were so informative because there was so much. We never really did any one of the plots of the novels. They kind of wrote their own arcs, but knowing things that Craig put in about Henry that may have never made it into the series, but informed me, like how he was special ops, maybe even black ops in Nam, and so that gave me from the beginning, this is how he carries himself, and this is why he's not afraid of anything, and and also why Walt listens to him. And there's a funny story because I auditioned for this. Junie Lowry, who cast me in La Bamba, cast me in Longmire, and I'd read a couple of the books before I went in, to audition for the producers, and I didn't ask, I just did it. I took out all the contractions because that's how Henry is written. And when Craig Johnson saw the tape, he went, "He's read my books." And then I became the contraction police forever on the rest of the show. Excuse me, I know you're a new writer, but I do not say it's. I say it is. It is a beautiful day at the Red Pony and Continual Soiree.
The one question I wanted to ask about Longmire was, were there any major shifts in how things worked when you left A&E and went to Netflix for the second half?
No.
Really?
Yeah, we got to say curse words every once in a while, But it's interesting. There was a whole tone discussion. It's like we were on A&E, and now we're on Netflix. So, are we going to see people naked? Are we going to be using the F word a lot more? And it's like, no, we've got an audience, and we really don't want to shake things up too much. So we might have gotten a little bloodier, might have been a little tougher here and there, a little grittier, but for the most part, it's the same show. I don't think anybody, wanted to, I don't know, see the hard R-rated version of it,
Thank you.
All right, we'll take this question, and then we have a little something special to show everybody here.
I was just wondering if there was any ever a role that you turned down that you later regretted, or one that you turned down and then seeing someone do it went, yeah, I couldn't have done it as good as them.
Let me start by saying this. Yes, everything works out for a reason. And there are certain roles that, there's an old joke, How many actors does it take to screw in a light bulb? About 100. 1 to do it, and 99 to go, shit, I could have done that. Okay? Yeah. I've looked at some roles and gone, I would have done it different. There's the rare occasion, not that rare actually, where I'll watch something and I go, I can't do that. I can't do what that guy does. Most recently, Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers. He and I are completely different. Would I have loved that role? Yes. Was Giamatti brilliant? Absolutely.
Yeah, he was.
And you watch that and you go, I don't do that. I know I don't do that. It's okay. There were two that come to mind, and one of them I would have been different, but I think I would have been very good. And it taught me a massive lesson. After Stand and Deliver, and after nominated for the Golden Globe, won the Independent Spirit Award, stuff like that. See how I worked that in there?
That was very nice.
Yeah. I was getting offered a lot of independent films, and there came one, and being from Texas, I saw the title, and I went, do I want that? And I asked my agent, I go, and they were offering scale, and it was an unknown director. I said, do I need to look at this? And my agent said, yeah, don't worry about it, because I was already attached to 2 or 3. And then the movie came out, and I went, God, what an idiot you are. Because I'd been offered it first, and it was Drugstore Cowboy. And Matt Dillon was fantastic in it. He was
That's Matt Dillon right now calling.
It's that Spielberg guy, and he will not leave me alone. And it's, God, I will not play E.T. 2 for you. It's one of the things I used to do in the 0 hour. So Matt was fantastic, but it was an incredible role, and if I'd have read it, I'd have been all over it. And there was one more, and the actor who ended up doing it is now a friend, and he's fantastic, and it worked out for a reason. But I was asked to take a meeting on a project, and I read the script, and it was so, and I can say this now, it was so ahead of its time. The way that it was written, you just look at it and went, what is this shit? This is ridiculous. I don't understand anything that they're doing, you know? And they had an offer out to 2 actors, one to play the lead and one to play the sort of mentor role. They had offered Brad Pitt the role of Neo and Sean Connery the role of Morpheus. And I said, if either one of those actors say yes, I'll take the meeting. Obviously, neither one said yes. And so I didn't take the meeting. And I could have been in the Matrix. But, you know, oh well. So yeah, no, it's interesting. It's interesting, because it's kind of a long road, and you know, sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't. You know, it's just the way it is.
Thank you.
Well, you do have a new movie you're in. It's coming out in December.
I do. December 6th in theaters.
Yes, it's called Werewolves.
Wonder what it's about.
I don't know.
All right.
We do have a trailer for it that we're going to play right now.
It just dropped today. The trailer dropped today.
So let's watch our trailer for Werewolves, and then we'll ask you a couple questions about it.
Bite me!
Mom? Uncle Wes, why can't you stay?
They need me to help them try and stop this. We're the only family we have left.
We got this.
Cody! What are you doing, man? You should kill somebody. We are all soldiers now. Tonight, when that sun sets, it's gonna be every man for himself.
We have a 9-hour window to test and report our findings. We hope to see if this mutation can be blocked.
Let's go over the rules.
Don't open the door for anyone.
Don't hesitate for a second. Hoorah! Hoorah! Hoorah!
Good luck tonight.
Canopy retraction commencing.
No more guns, no more guards. Those things are coming for us.
I'm here.
Hey! Bite me!
Yay.
That movie looks like a blast.
Yeah. Yeah. I play the head of the CDC. You grow a gray beard and they think you're smart. It's good. But yeah, man, thrilled. Stephen C. Miller, fantastic guy. What a visionary. This is his first theatrical film after busting his butt for many, many years as an independent filmmaker. So I'm really, really proud of him and very happy for him. It's in like 2,400 theaters across the country. Katrina Law is also in it. Really wonderful. And as you can tell, it's a little bit of a throwback to some practical old school effects with a mix of CGI. We shot it in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and the stunt people who had to be in those wolf suits, woohoo! That was rough. I mean, they lost some weight.
A little warm?
Just a little warm.
A little bit, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Lou, we're unfortunately out of time, but no worries. You can go. You can still see him. He's here all weekend, right?
Here all weekend.
Here all weekend. Everybody, please give Lou Diamond Phillips a big round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out. See you guys at the table. Thank you.